Okay, so today we'll review this super handy 3-inch wood chipper. It comes with a 7-horse 212cc motor. As you can tell, it comes pretty well packaged. There is some assembly required. You got your hoppers there, your wheels, and the little stand for it. Does not come with oil, so you'll have to have 15W40 is what's in the owner's manual. Let me get it put together, and I'll give you a review on how long that took and how difficult of a job I would rate that to be. And then I've got a pile of brush over here that I'm going to go through, and we'll see how she handles it. Okay, the very first step of the assembly, as you can see here, says to install this base, and that it goes to the base of the engine. As you can see, it's got 4 bolts that need to go on there. The instructions don't say anything about removing a bolt, but you actually have to take the bolt off the air filter stand to bolt the bracket on there. It's pretty easy to figure that out, but it's just one step that I would say needs corrected in their instructions for assembly. I already put on the wheelbase. The wheels went on pretty easy, just that black bracket there, 3 bolts to put it on, and then 2 just little cotter keys to hold the wheels on. So step 2 is actually pretty easy, but let me go ahead and finish up step 1 and we'll continue on. So I'm still putting the stand together, and you'll see these bolts and the washers that are supposed to be used to put this stand on right here. The washers that they sent in this kit don't fit on the bolts. They're the wrong size washers. So that's the first thing I've noticed, that the parts bag is missing the proper size washers. I don't think I'm going to need them, even though the instructions clearly show a washer there. But I'll go ahead and finish putting that together. So after the wheels and the stand go on, the next step is to install the hopper. Pretty easy, just goes on, and there's 4 bolts that hold it on. The only thing is the top bolts, you can't get a socket on. You have to use a wrench to tighten those top bolts. If they'd have just left a little more room, you could have put them on with a socket like you did the bottom ones. They're 13 millimeter. It's not a big issue. It's just one other design area that they could have, left you a little more room to work in there. Okay, so she's assembled top to bottom, less than 30 minutes. Not a super hard job. 12 and 13 millimeter wrenches and a 10 millimeter wrench and socket, pair of pliers for putting on the wheels, but for the most part pretty easy. Put oil in it. They've not got the best oil system for putting oil in. You can't really tell when it's full. There's no window or anything that you're looking into. It. You do have, obviously, the dipstick. When I put fuel in it, the little filter that is at the top here decided that it was just going to drop right into the tank. So not a major concern for me. I don't think that little screen on top of the gas tank does a whole lot anyway. But we'll get her started. We'll put her to work on the wood pile over here and see how she does. Well, we cut through a pile of wood. You see it sprays wood chips all over. That's the little pile of stumps that were a little too big to get through. Some of the stuff's kind of knotty, so if the knot is bigger than the opening, obviously you're not going to get it through. But for that big giant pile of brush that I had, it took me about an hour and a half, 2 hours to go through it. The chipper did pretty well. You're going to want to have a pair of these little cutter shears so that you can trim stuff down off the branches before you put her through there, because obviously if it's wider than the mouth, it's not going to go through. But overall, for the money, I think I paid $490 for this on Amazon. Compared to some of the other ones that I've seen, I would say it's not a bad deal. Held up pretty well. I only stalled it once, and the piece of wood was probably about a 3-inch right at the max, and it was quite long. So about 5 feet of cutting through that 3-inch, it stalled the motor out. But other than that, she worked good. I would recommend it. So there you have it, the super handy 7 horsepower put together and through a pile of wood.